this? Is this the Brummer Road ride? What is this? And I wanted to use the photograph, but I knew that I had to be accurate. I just couldn't manufacture anything fictitious. But lo and behold, out of nowhere, I just come across a newspaper clipping with the exact photo and the caption. And I remember once, while we were going through the papers, we were deciding what's going to be archived and what's going to be thrown away. So I remember looking at a piece of paper and I decided, well, this is of no value. This will go in the pile to be thrown away. And as the paper fluttered to the floor, I saw something in red. And so I picked up the paper and I turned over the paper, and written in red was, "Do not throw this away." In his own handwriting. And then another incident I remember. I went up to the YWCA, and I have 2 locks on my front door, and I said, oh, I'm only going for 5 minutes to pick up something. And so I just pushed in the bottom lock. And when I returned, 10 minutes or so, I noticed my door was open. And I walked in, and yes, the house had been burglarized. And oh, what a mess they made. And so I went into the cabinet where all the papers were, and all of the papers that had taken me months to classify, strewn all over the place. And then I picked up something. It was the front cover of a book, and it read, when you feel safest, take the greatest care. So he must be up there still giving some guidance. All right, so next. Yes, and here we have a cartoon by Cousin Jackson's brother, Stanley Burnside. I always like this cartoon. And it shows Sir Randol arriving at Heaven's Gate and being met by St. Peter, who says to him, how shall I list you? Payment hero, father of labor, or what? And Sir Randol replies, I would be honored if you'd simply list me as a worker. And you see on his briefcase, solidarity forever. And he said that verse from the song, blessed is the man who remembers the poem, was his favorite verse. But all through his diaries, there's just one verse that he has written countless times in his own handwriting. If you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move hence to yonder place, and it shall be moved, and nothing shall be impossible to you. And that's what I would like to leave with you in closing. And I have my own theory about the 1967 election. As I mentioned to you before, each party, the United Bahamian Party and the Progressive Liberal Party, obtained 18 seats. And some of you, I don't know, I just wondered to myself one day, why did this happen, 18 seats? And I think it happened because Dad had been, like many others, he had been at the vanguard, at the forefront of the struggle for, in those days, you were not called black persons. In fact, that was an insult. If a person termed you as a black individual, growing up they would say colored or Negro. But he was at the forefront, of the struggle to help them obtain basic human rights. And I believe that that was simply divine intervention, because I just have a feeling that had the Progressive Liberal Party gotten a majority of votes, I don't think he would have been included, even though he had been a part of the struggle. So I think God allowed that to happen so that he could be a part of that victorious moment. And that's my theory on that. Well, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for coming out. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them. Mom, I don't know, do you want to add anything? She's getting shy. Yes.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I just wanted to know, why do you think, because in an
Truth, yes, yes.
I just wondered what.
You know, there are many things that Randol said. Sometimes when I look at his writings, I say, oh boy, I'll never quote that because it takes courage to say the things that he said. My presentation was rather tame tonight compared to how he would have, I guess, expressed himself. But he answered those questions, you know, as to why he chose not to be a part of the Progressive Liberal Party. And I wonder if I should say it. Well, in going through his papers, I remember after we got many, many letters. There was one final interview that he did, and I have it on his website. 2 weeks prior to his death, he started going to the Nassau Guardian, and he was being interviewed by Lindsay Thompson, a journalist. And he did 2 interviews with her. And on the day that he died, he was supposed to have done the 3rd interview. And she asked him the same question. And he said that he just saw corruption on all sides. And he chose not to be a part of it. And he said he saw it on all sides, not just in one party. And I know I would always hear him talking about things that are happening, and you know, he was always very much opposed to all the things that he saw going on around him, and he would, I guess, have some tirades, and I would banter back and forth with him. I said, you know, Debbie, Christ said he came not for the righteous, but to call sinners for repentance. But I think he just was opposed to a lot of what he saw. And I know Michael Barnett, now Chief Justice, right? He asked him a similar question. But I don't know, I have a hard time sharing some of his thoughts. Yeah, so.
After your father retired, what were his views of those that came after him? Yes. How did he express their enthusiasm that they just gave up the movement? After he was retired from the movement, he expressed it. The views that came after him were as passionate as vocal as
I remember one thought he had about the labor movement. He said that people would never take the trade union movement seriously until they had a labor party, and he was all for having a labor party. And he tried to get it off the ground, but he always fielded other candidates in addition to himself, but he was the only one who was ever successful. But he thought that governments of the day were not interested in taking the labor movement seriously, just giving them lip service, and he wanted them to feel they were candidates. Oh yes, yes.